up, y'all? Hey, it's your girl Shauna Solomon, and it's his Life of a CEO. I know it's been a minute, y'all. Bear with me. I had to make that crazy move to Houston, but I'm excited today because I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world with me, Nicole Lewis. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, my Shauna. How are you?
I am amazing, amazing. I'm so glad to have you on today.
I'm glad to be here.
Today, we are going to be talking about leadership in business.
Okay.
And yes, and one of the reasons why I felt like you would be the perfect one for this topic is because, I be tooting my horn about my Nick and her Nikki's magic wand. Like, oh my God, I think that people don't understand what and how much of an amazing woman as you are, right? Like we know how dope you are in Pittsburgh, but thinking about Black women or Black woman, QVC, how many times?
Six times. Six times.
Listen, that is freaking amazing. And I'm like, who else can talk about leadership and how to get your brand even to that point, right? Because most people kind of stay local. They don't even think that big. But we're going to go ahead and have that conversation. But first, I want you to do a quick little introduction of yourself, and then we'll jump right in.
All right. I thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity to give me a platform and to let me talk about my baby. So I guess a little bit of background really quickly is I didn't even have this idea until I was in my 40s. And I always like to tell people that because a lot of times people think it's too, they waited too long. There's not enough time left. And, up to that point, I was a 9-to-5 girl. And quite frankly, I still am. And so I've had the opportunity to hold positions in corporate America that have helped form my leadership style.
Okay.
And that has definitely informed Nikki's Magic Wand. So I had this idea. It was born out of frustration of not being able to get some lip gloss out of a tube. And here's what it looks like. It's basically just, it's like a tiny little spatula. People have described it as a little windshield wiper, and it gets all of that stuff out. I wish I had brought up my Fenty bottle because I'm literally in scrape mode these days. But yeah, Shauna, I think what's happened is, a lot of times we enter this entrepreneurship life, this small business life, and we don't know what to do. So I would like to mention the leadership part actually from me looking to leaders, me looking to people like you as a leader, right? I met you very soon after launching Nikki's Magic Wand. We met in January of 2013.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
It's been 10 years.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And so the leadership that I got from you helped me helped me in the business, but then also helped me with people who were coming along, wanting to know, how do you do this? And having that leadership language, because that's important too, right? Like knowing how to share things.
That makes a good leader. That makes a good leader. I think a lot of people now are like they put themselves in that position when it comes to leadership. But leadership has certain qualities. So, what qualities do you think a good leader, especially in business, should have?
Yes. So that's an excellent question because I will take it back to, and I know I'm dipping into corporate a bit, but I promise to link it up. People leave managers. They don't leave jobs, right? The people the things that people complain about when they say I hate my job, it's typically the people, right? So the qualities that a leader should have is openness to learn. Openness to learn from people above you who are senior leaders, and openness to learn from people who are levels beneath you. I have an intern who is working for me currently this summer in my 9-to-5, and she is teaching me so much. And so a true leader is open. A true leader is supportive, right? A true leader is listening to your concerns, listening to your highs, your lows. A true leader doesn't take credit. Girl, a true
Mhm.
leader gives you your shine. A true leader gives you, because guess what that does? That makes the whole team glow,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. I
Yeah.
love it. And my thing is, how can you build a business? I always talk about building, like my angle is always visibility and growth, right? I'm always talking
Mhm.
about growing your brand, growing that. And I'm like, how can you build and not grow? But how can you grow and not have any leadership? I've met some amazing
Yeah.
business owners and understanding that they don't have what it takes to be a real leader in order to take their
Mhm.
business to the next level. Because again, like a lot of people, they want that credit. You got to be okay with not being front and center, which is a lot. Is how that happens a lot
Yes.
in business, right? So it's like, so I'm glad. Thank you so much for that answer. I will ask you. I do want to ask you one thing about the when it comes to moving, when you were moving into that space and decided that you wanted to go to QVC. How did that with that conversation, right? When you're thinking about having to have this conversation with people who are CEOs, CFOs. Like, I don't know. I don't personally know what that process is or how it is with QVC, but
Yeah.
was that challenging at all being a Black woman in that space?
That's a great question. So the answer is yes, right? And then the answer is, and it's, a Black woman in that space. It's someone who has never had any entrepreneurial experience. I don't come
Mm,
from a family of entrepreneurs, so it was really finding, um, the right things to say, the right questions to ask. A lot of leadership, and this is one way that you're a phenomenal leader. A lot of leadership is very just heavily based on organization, right? Okay, so I
mm,
am going to do this, and then this, and then this, and then and however you, if it's
mhm,
to do's on a piece of paper, it's doing your research, right? So when I had to have those conversations with the staff at QVC, I had to ask, like, what are my questions? What
mhm.
what do you want to know? Um, it, you know, if they want this amount of inventory, what happens if it doesn't sell out? What happens if it does sell out? How do we
Right.
get them more? So I think one of the things that I always tell people when they're talking about starting businesses and I don't have any capital, I don't have anything. What are Where are your list of questions? Do people need the things that you are trying to give them?
Mhm.
Go online, look at your competitors. What are they doing? What could you do better?
Absolutely. That,
What
that
could you
market research is huge. A lot of people miss out. Well, a lot of people miss out on business by not doing their research.
huge? You're not gonna put your chicken place right next door to somebody else's chicken place. Like, don't you know
Mm.
what I mean?
Not
It's
without doing something different. So again, like everybody likes to do everything the same.
correct.
Sometimes you mentioned asking them what it is that you wanted. But the crazy part about that is they're actually doing their 9 to 5. So
Yeah.
could you relate to that from being a 9 to 5er and then being an entrepreneur and having to go to somebody who is a 9 to 5er when it comes to, like, that's kind of tricky to me. Because
Right.
I'm like, when you're thinking, like when we go, when I'm pitching clients for whatever reason, it's like, this
Mhm.
is this person's 9 to 5 job. A
Yep.
lot of people don't understand that entrepreneur side where you have the best of both worlds. You know them both. Was that
Yeah.
an advantage for you at all, or was it still like an
You know
issue?
what, and that's so interesting, Shona, because of all the questions that I've been asked over the years, and a lot of them have been connecting the two worlds, right? No
Mm-hmm.
one has ever asked me that, like, what was it like to now, as an entrepreneur, to communicate with people who this is their 9 to 5,
Yeah.
right? And since I've never had that question, I think my gut response to it, without having any time to prep it, is to say entrepreneurs do have to be mindful of the structure that 9 to 5ers have.
Mm. Okay.
You see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, when they say 9 to 5, they might not really want to respond to you at 7 p.m.
And they
Right? They
probably
might.
are not even at their office at 7 p.m.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then, depending on what you're communicating with them for, they may have lots of you, right? They may have multiple Nikki's Magic Wands, multiple Shauna Solomon. So it is about being mindful of that. And I think sometimes when we're entrepreneurs, right, everything is critical to us. We have to get it done today, right now, right?
Yes.
But if we're needing something from someone who is on a very structured schedule, unlike an entrepreneurial schedule, then we might have trouble getting to them.
Getting what you want, getting that result. And that's funny because I
Yep.
am very structured when it comes to like my time. So like,
Yep.
I have my content time set to the side. I have, like, I got up this morning. I said, okay, I'm gonna do my exercise. I got to go to the store by this time because I got to be back by this time. Once I'm done with you, I got to do some emails. Like literally everything is so structured. But then with me now, like pitching clients, I'm understanding, which is hard for me. If I send you an email at early in the day, I am expecting you to reply back, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. So now they're like, oh, well, give us 24 hours or 48 hours to respond. And I'm like, it don't take that long, but they're not sitting and they don't have the luxury of doing all the different things that I can do, you know, like throughout the day, even though it's structured. But it was like, I didn't understand that at first. I feel like I struggled with that. And still, because I just went through that last week.
Yeah, no, and listen, and it's real, and I'm kind of the same way, particularly if there's something pressing that I want and need. I'm like, just answer my email. But I do understand, like, I'll have a whole day, you know, set, and I can set aside time, and somebody will just somebody will throw a meeting on your calendar, and they'll just be like, you know, I'm about to call you in 5 minutes, and you're like, okay, I was kind of in the middle of 15 things, but sure, you know, and if it's from your manager or if it's from their manager, they need something pressing, you know, you have to do it all the time. Yeah.
So, and with that, when it comes to even with communication, how does that differ? Like, to me, I feel like it would differ because now my managers seem to be like the journalist, or like if I'm, you know, with me pitching a client to get into a certain place. Now they might not necessarily be my manager, but this is somebody that I have to answer to when it comes to certain things. Like, how does that feel or work for you? Because like for me, I don't want to be answering to nobody. I don't care who you are.
I mean, listen, it's an excellent point, and it's one of the reasons why. Is because someone recently asked, what's the most common question people ask you? And I responded, you know, when are you going on Shark Tank? Like, we heard it constantly, all the time, every time I turned around. And I'll tell you, to your point, so Nikki's Magic Wand is co-owned by 2 Black women. And, you know, so my business partners in Atlanta, and people would ask us all the time, and we really did plan to go on Shark Tank at some point, but then it occurred to us, like, we didn't want that manager. We didn't want somebody telling us that, you know, now granted, it would have been wonderful for exposure. Maybe we would have been far further, you know, and so, you know, it's kind of a trade-off there, right? But there was something special to us about having this business be Black owned, having it be owned by 2 women, 2 mothers. It just meant something to us. And so that did take that direct manager away. You know,
I also think that people don't understand that whole dynamic when it comes to having a business like that in a product. It's like, you don't just want anybody to come in there and tell you how to run anything. Like, and it's real easy for to say, and I might have been one of those people that asked you about Shark Tank, but that's because I just think the idea is so amazing. But it's like, again, with a true leader thinks about all of those different things. One of the things that when I'm talking to clients and somebody comes in and it drives me insane, and I'm having this clarity call, and they're like, I just want to go, I want to go viral. And I'm like, there's so much more to going viral, because now that you're going, let's just say, okay, kudos, you go viral. And now you have this demand that you can no longer, that you can't do anything with it, right? You don't have the manpower. Now you got to hire, and you clearly can't be I'm not gonna say you clearly can't be a real leader, but you didn't think it out just to think about going viral in itself, because there's so many components that come behind that. And I think that when I shoot that question back at them, like, are you ready for this? That shows me then, like, if they're in that mindset and where they are in their business. Because a lot of people are not, they don't know how to be leaders in their business. They just know how to be a business owner.
No, that's 100% true. And you're raising such a good point. And I will say this because I do have people who report to me in corporate, and it's not for the faint of heart, right? There's personalities, people are concerned about their rating, they're concerned about their workload, they're concerned about their money, right? And so you take that and you apply that to your baby, something you've created, your small business, and you are going to be, quite frankly, offended if somebody's coming at you like, well, why are we doing it this way? Well, what do you do? Well, why wasn't I included in this call? Or why was I included in this call? It's a different feeling because you're emotionally attached to that business.
Yep.
I'm not emotionally attached to what I do in corporate America, right? So if people complain about the company, to me, that's the company. But when people complain about your business, your small business, that's your business. And I think it's difficult. It's difficult to be in partnerships. It's difficult to have people who report to you and work for you. And to your point, people have to be very careful about what they want. That viral piece, now you blew up, now what? Now people are disappointed. They can't order because you can't make it fast enough.
Yes.
You can't ship it fast enough. You don't have the capital.
Your vendor might not have it. Like I've seen so many different, I've seen people literally go viral and not even think about their vendor being able to have the capacity to get that order out in a timely manner, which is, again, a business owner with good leadership skill will absolutely know how to take something like that on before it even happens. But you did.
I was just going to say really, really, really fast. The last order that QVC placed was for 23,545 wands.
Woo.
And what would I have done if I could not fill that order?
Yep.
I needed to have the money.
We had that conversation though, where you had mentioned like there were certain things that you just didn't want to get into anymore. And I think that one of the things that I love that you do is you bring, which is why having this conversation, is how you bring community together to help you with your business. And it's not like somebody who's calling on community for like funding, like what is the word I'm looking for? Like that, it almost like how when somebody dies and looking for that GoFundMe, like you are literally building community and making feel like people are part of Nikki's magic wand when they are helping you do what it is that you want to do. And I love that about you. I think that's something that is one of your it's one of your great values with Nikki's magic wand. But I do want to backtrack a little bit because you mentioned complaints, right? As a leader, have you ever had somebody complain? And even if you haven't, how would you handle it? How are we supposed to handle things like that? Because everybody's not going to be happy at all times, even if we do know who our audience is, right?
Yep. No, that's real. So I would say in corporate, the complaints are nonstop. People don't like the work schedule. They don't like whatever, those are nonstop. In business, I'll be honest, I haven't had very many just because I never had a bunch of people on staff. I had people that were sort of freelance. Right. So I might bring in some people to do my social media. I may bring in some people to do some graphic design. I never really had complaint issues in that situation. But I will say, taking those pieces that I know from my other life in corporate America, if I were to have someone who was on staff who was complaining, then I think there needs to be a conversation. Absolutely. And I think one of the ways to get ahead of that, right, is to sit down initially and set the mission for the position, set the vision, the goal for it. What do you want out of this? Are you trying to make SSA? Are you trying to make it successful with me? Do you want to work in partnership with me to grow this business as a Black-owned, Black female business? What do you see as your role in this? I think those conversations have to happen first, and they don't, right? We get excited. I know they do with you, but we get excited and we're like, yes, come on, come work for me, and you can do this, and I'll pay you this, and it doesn't quite. It gets away from from people. And I think if you said that, and I'm all about this word is going to make it seem fake, but it's not fake for me. I'm all about gassing people up in this way, hyping them up. Like, listen, you're a part of this vision. I need you. And I'm not fake with it. I need you. I need you to help me grow. I don't know what I'm doing. I need your expertise. And so I think if you make people feel like a part of the mission, then when the complaints come, you can say, and you want to be patient, because again, this is your baby, right? It's so easy to be emotional. Like, I know you didn't just question me about that, right?
And get questions like,
yeah,
it's hard out here.
It's hard. And so I think, you have to be very clear about your expectations, what you're paying, what the hours are, what the deliverables should be, how often, what are vacation days like? What are we talking about here? So that when the complaints come, you can go, hold on a second, because we did talk about this and you're supposed to work from.
Absolutely.
So I think it's about getting ahead of it. And then if complaints come, you manage them with patience and grace, but get as much on paper and as much agreement as you can ahead of time.
Okay, that's huge. I do feel like that there has been, I know for me, I don't know about anybody else that's watching. I know for me, I have struggled with bringing people in, because I literally asked them, like, what do you see your role being in SSA? And I've had people tell me that they wanted my job. I've told people that they had aspired to be, and and I would be sitting here lying, acting like it wasn't alarming, because it's like, I'm not bringing you in as competition, but it's like, what is your, honestly, I just didn't feel like those were the answers that I wanted to hear. And I didn't know how, so I literally had to go back and reflect myself. I want to say I had the conversation with Sharice. This was a couple of years ago. And it's like, okay, now I know how to address certain things like that. Because first of all, ma'am, you can't come in here and take over SSA unless I want you to. But but still, like you said, having those expectations, I think, is huge. One of the things that we have implemented is now we have an orientation, not only for our incoming, the people who are being hired, whether they're contractors or whatever, but even our clients. We have an orientation now, so that they know what their expectations are. We know, and they know and vice versa. So if they try to come back and say, "Oh, well, you didn't say," listen, I tell everybody, this is not no get rich. Oh, I'm getting ready to be making money in 30 days. Have I had people make money in 30 days? Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, I ain't putting that on no paper.
Right.
It's contingent on you doing your work, and everything else. But it's like, I think that those are certain things that we as leaders have to be honest about, that we have to put in place in order for our businesses to grow. You answered another question already that I already had about the empower. How do you empower and motivate your team? So mention that. You want to go a little bit deeper in that, or no?
Yeah, sure. I think, and actually, as I'm looking at you, I'm thinking, and I'm reflecting on other people that we know that are in the world of entrepreneurship, or want to be, or present themselves to be. I think one of the ways to inspire and motivate is to walk the walk, right? We know you as style mother. We see you're always polished, and when you're not, you tell us, listen, I'm moving, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? And I think it's about, I like to speak, right? I like to speak publicly, right? And I like to write books. And so I feel like when I'm talking to people, I should sound like I like to speak. I should sound like I give presentations. I should make sense. I should use proper grammar. I should use proper, and so I say that to say, if we are going to inspire people to work for us, to follow our vision, then we need to walk that walk. We need to show them what a leader looks like. We need to show them what a CEO looks like.
Absolutely. And that's that trust though, too, right? So that trust, when people say, when they be like, I don't understand what you mean, like building a trusted brand image. Well, if nobody trusts you, then they're not going to do business with you. If nobody trusts you, they're not going to follow you. If you have to constantly convince people to work with you, I don't know when the last time, I don't think I've ever had to say since SSA has been open that we are accepting new clients ever. We've never had to say that because we have a trusted reputation on that we get results. So people just show up, right? We have a waiting list, so again, I think that, and I don't think people understand that part of entrepreneurship at all, on how they're supposed to show up and to get people to want to follow them for whatever reason. And that's, I made this comment yesterday that people, I think to Sharice again, people are utilizing their influence the wrong way.
Yep.
And I feel like as leaderships in business, like I said, there was a few, and I try to stay out of those controversial topics, but use your influence for what your bottom line is.
That's it. And let me tell you something.
Yeah.
They're not. And you, first of all, let me say something that is so tacky. So my
tacky. I love you.
I just looked and my phone has like 14%. So let me get my charger.
Okay.
Girl.
I love it. But this is the real, and this is what I'm saying. Like, so one of the reasons why I decided to do Life of a CEO anyway was for people to be able to see the back end, or like what actually goes on when it comes to being a real CEO. Because people see, somebody said, "Oh, I see you. You done moved to Houston and you're doing it big." Whatever. Says I've been on that couch watching Ratchet reality TV for 3 days.
Right. And you see me, I'm in my house. I got my moo on. Listen, I said I'm talking to my good girlfriend today. I'm a big
exactly. But I think that again, and I think that, and it's not being fake, because I had somebody say that one time at one of my speaking engagements. Well, you don't think that's being fake? No, I'm presenting the best part of you. I'm not always on.
And listen, and what I learned, I didn't mean to cut you off. But what I learned over time is I have gotten such a strong response from people when I've told them I'm struggling. Y'all, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to market Nikki's Magic Wand. Yeah. I don't want to spend any more money right now because I don't know what I'm doing. And people are like, "Oh my gosh,
it's relatable." But I got a whole it ain't a whole presentation, but I do got some suggestions for you because I am working on something and I would love to be able to use Nikki's Magic Wand as a sample for that.
Let's do it.
It's a few different things, but you gotta bear with me with this next level that's happening. And I'm like, who do I like? I want to use a service-based business, and I also want to use a product-based business as well to do it, just to show that it works is basically what I'm doing.
Yes. Do put me to work, girl. You know what? I think my charger is going to give us, because it's on some slow charging mess, I think it's going to give us 2 more minutes.
Oh, no. Okay. So real quick, how about if you just give some advice for some entrepreneurs, some aspiring entrepreneurs. I do want you to plug Nikki's Magic Wand. I'm actually going to compile a little video just so that is also a part of this as well, so that people can understand how amazing it is. People always ask me when I'm going live that I don't have it sitting right here. I normally have it bubbly. People do not understand how amazing bubbly is. I was on a live one day and somebody was like, "What is that lip gloss that you have on?" It's bubbly.
It's bubbly. It's always bubbly.
It's only bubbly. So I think that being able to, I want people to know more about the wand. The fact that you even have different shades of your gloss, your matte. My mom loves the mattes. But real quick, give us some advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, and then plug Nikki's Magic Wand.
Absolutely. Thank you. And first of all, let me apologize to all of our listeners here, because I am not usually this tacky. I typically have my phone properly charged. I was at the gym, and so by the time I got back in to prepare for Miss Shauna, I did not have enough time to charge it. So please forgive me on that. But I can tell you what I need to tell you before it shuts us off. Basically, I want you to take your time in what you're thinking about doing. Make sure people want it. That's number one, because there is nothing worse than spending a whole lot of time spinning your wheels and finding out you can only sell them to your friends and your family and your cousins. Make sure somebody wants what you have. And that's where you do your research. And you can do so much research without any money at first. That's Google. Use Google. Get it started. Pay to talk to people like Shauna. She's going to tell you if it's marketable. She's going to tell you if people want it. She's going to tell you. So pay, invest in yourself. I would say for leadership, treat people like you want to be treated. I know it's basic, right? But the truth of the matter is, what kind of leader would you want to have? How would you want to be talked to? How would you want to be communicated with? Think about all of that, right? Now, with regards to Nikki's magic wand, you can see it running along the bottom. It's www.nickismagicwand.com. I invented a cosmetic tool that gets all of your product out of small tubes and containers. And I also added some glosses, some mattes, some liquid lipsticks, beautiful colors. So check out the site when you can. And, be supportive of your sisters. Take your time, give yourself grace. This is not something you're going to learn overnight. I think Shauna will tell you she is still learning. She is still growing.
Absolutely.
And helping other people learn and grow. So we can do, if we have genuine, pure intentions, then we can grow. And I want to say this final thing, because I think we both know this. People focus so much on being successful, making all the money that they can, that a lot of times they will block out helping people. Helping people does not stop your shine. It does not take money out of your pocket. It actually makes people more attracted to you. So and be open.
Yeah. So, and I want to finish up with that, like with just adding on to that. One of the things that I think I love about us is that we've genuinely built quality relationships. Yeah. And I think that's the part that is missed when it comes to that helping part, that there is not a real genuine bond. And I don't want to use the word bond, because there's some people that I just help just because that's my heart. But I think that also when it comes to growing your business, having real quality friendships, relationships that can help you grow, somebody that can sow into you the way somebody sowed into them is huge, which is another reason why we're doing the Black Woman Meetup, because I'm excited about that. That's August 12th. But for those who, if this is your first time on this, we do a Black Woman Meetup where Black women come together and we network, we grow, we build relationships. And it has been phenomenal just watching some of those relationships grow and watching the businesses grow. So it's not just about making money. I know for a long time, I'm like, I need to get to this. I need to get to this. And now that's sitting on that couch watching ratchet reality TV a couple of days. I'm fine with that, because on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I know that I have done what God has called me to do, which is help other small businesses grow. Again, like
that's the goal. Our time. There's nothing more valuable than time. Yep. Nothing. We only get a certain amount of years. I mean, some of us, if you can get 80, 90, fantastic, but not everybody gets that, right? So your time, there's nothing more important than your time. And if you listen, you and I, we've sat in church basements selling our stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yes, we have.
Walking right by, patting us on the head, like, oh, cute, keep going. And I would have much rather been in my house watching SVU.
Absolutely.
Rather been in my house watching SVU. So be also, I know at the beginning you feel like you got to take everything, every opportunity. And sometimes you do in the very beginning just for the exposure. But once you grow, and actually you might not have to do that if you get with Shauna. You get with Shauna and she's very, she strategizes with where to be, where to sit. So you won't have to be in all the church basements I was in.
Yeah, and that's the part that people don't understand. Like, we have literally, and that's why I love when me and Sharice do our Charge Your Worth series. It's actually, we do our Charge Your Worth. It's part of our Entrepreneurs with Experience series, and that is because of we can talk about where we've been and how we got there and all that. The goal, and I think too, a lot of people when it comes to hiring, and a lot of people have been burned when it comes to coaches and things like that. But I think that with hiring somebody, it doesn't have to be me. It could be a mentor. It could be whatever. Is they are helping you accelerate your growth. You still want to have to do some work.
Yes.
But what they're doing is showing you the mistakes that they made and creating strategies so that you don't have to make those same mistakes. And now there's so much more information out there. Like, I know I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago at all.
No, you're not.
Like, the amount of information. Huh?
You're better.
Listen. And I feel like, and sometimes like even with that, and I appreciate you. Thank you for saying that. But a lot of times we don't even take the time to take that in. Like it took Sharice to say, you remember when you did this for me? Or like somebody sending me something and saying, hey, like look at what I've done because of you. We don't give ourselves grace. We do not like to, especially as Black women, take when somebody says, hey, you are doing an amazing job. Thank you. Like there's times that I've literally sat and cried like, oh my God, I can't believe this person did that because of this, you know? So it's like, it's the entrepreneur journey is an interesting one.
It is. And I know you and I both heard, and then I probably need to go, but you and I both we've heard people say, I did this because I saw you do it and it made me realize I could.
Absolutely. Yep.
And there is no bigger compliment, because if you are sitting in your house and you are unsure and you are, not willing to follow this dream, but you see somebody who, we are mothers, we have more than one child, we have grandchildren, and we can do it. And we have both started over again and rebuild, and let's go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
And it's possible. So know that it's possible. Please know that.
Yes, and I think that people see us too. And again, this conversation could go on and on, because a lot of people see. I know there's a lot of people who see me, and coming from somebody who, it took me years to even say that I was a domestic violence survivor, being a teenage mom, all of those things. You know, I get those inboxes a lot. And those things are like near and dear to my heart, because it's like, and I tell them, they be like, well, what could you, if I promise you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I done been at the very, very bottom and knows how it feels to be there and lose everything and feel like that I wasn't even capable. There was times that I didn't even think that God loved me anymore. So like there's a whole testimony behind that. But I'm going to end it with that. And I thank you so much for joining me today.
You're so anytime.
Excited. You're coming to the Black Woman meetup? Are you going to be there?
I should be there. Yes. Okay. I believe, because I was supposed to be out of town with Brent, but I believe I should be there. Yes.
Okay. Well, yay. Well, I'll see you when I come back up there. I love you so much.
I love you so much.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe. We have a list of more phenomenal entrepreneurs that are going to come on and give you some tips in the back end. And that's it for this week, for this session of Life of a CEO. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, you too.